What is good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode brought to you by the League FFB. Today, I have 10 potential trade candidates with perfect playoff schedules for your fantasy football leagues. All of these guys have the ability to help you win a fantasy football championship. And we're also doing a giveaway as well, so make sure you stick around for that. And if you do decide to make any offers for any of these players here in today's video, go ahead and put them in the comments below. I'd love to give you my feedback on those offers. But without wasting any more time, let's hop right into this video and let's talk about my first player. Now, the first player I think you guys should be trading for is going to be Kyler Murray of the Arizona Cardinals. And Kyler Murray is currently ranked as the QB 42 in fantasy football. Obviously, this is because he didn't play to start the NFL season. Just was activated last week, but he's currently averaging about 18.3 points per game. Very small sample size, I understand that, but Kyler Murray's playoff schedule is really good for fantasy football. He does start off with a little bit of a tougher matchup in week 15. He gets the San Francisco 49ers. They're currently ranked 28th against the quarterback position, only allowing about 13.7 points per game. But where Kyler Murray is going to win you your fantasy football championships is that week 16 and that week 17 matchup. Week 16, he gets to play the Chicago Bears. They are ranked 11th easiest against the quarterback position, giving up 18.3 points per game. And then in your championship week, week 17, he gets to play the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the third easiest matchup, giving about 20.4 points per game to that quarterback position. And in total, what that means is those teams are giving up a total points per game allowed in his playoff schedule of about 52.4 fantasy points, an average points per games allowed of about 17.5 points per game. So Kyler Murray is fit to win you guys some fantasy football championships, especially with that week 17 matchup. Now, the second player that you guys should be trading for in your fantasy football leagues is going to be Russell Wilson of the Denver Broncos. And he is currently the quarterback 14 on the year. He's averaging about 17.5 points per game. His playoff schedule is even better than Kyler Murray's. He gets the Detroit Lions here in week 15, which is the 9th easiest matchup to the quarterback position, giving up about 18.5 points per game. Gets a little bit tougher there in week 16. He gets the New England Patriots. They are the 24th ranked against the quarterback position, giving up 14.9 points per game. But then again, just like Kyler Murray, that championship week is pristine for Russell Wilson. He gets the Los Angeles Chargers. They are the second easiest matchup against the quarterback position, giving up 20.9 points per game. And what this means for Russell Wilson is, again, a total points per game allowed of 54.3 over the course of that playoff schedule, which averages to about 18.1 fantasy points per game that these defenses are giving up to the quarterback position. Now, moving on from the quarterbacks and moving over to the running back position, the first running back you should be trading for is going to be Josh Jacobs of the Las Vegas Raiders. And Jacobs is currently the running back 4 in fantasy football right now, averaging about 14.6 points per game. So he's probably a little bit more of an expensive trade piece, but still worth it nonetheless. He gets the Los Angeles Chargers here in week 15. They are the 6th easiest matchup against the running back position. They're giving up 22.4 points per game to that running back room. Now, he does get the Kansas City Chiefs in week 16. A little bit tougher of a matchup, but again, they're ranked 22 against the running back position, giving up about 16.2 points per game. And then in your championship weeks, he gets the Indianapolis Colts. They're the 4th easiest against the running back position, giving up about 23 points per game. So the total points per game allowed in his playoff schedule will be about 61.6 points. That is an average points per game allowed of 20.5 points for Josh Jacobs during your fantasy football playoffs. So Josh Jacobs can definitely be a league winner for your fantasy football teams. Now, the second running back that I'm going to be trading for in my fantasy football leagues will be DeAndre Swift of the Philadelphia Eagles. And he currently sits as the running back 10 in fantasy football, averaging about 14.4 points per game. In week 15, he gets the number 5 easiest matchup, Seattle Seahawks, giving up about 22.7 points per game. He gets the New York Giants there in week 16. They're the 9th easiest matchup, giving up 21.7 points per game. And then in your championship weeks, Arizona Cardinals, the number 3 easiest matchup, giving up 24.5 points per game. This is a very, very good playoff schedule. DeAndre Swift has the ability to win you your leagues in these 3-week spans here for your fantasy football playoffs. And that is a total points per game allowed from those opponents of 68.9 fantasy points, an average points per game allowed in the playoffs of 23 points per game. That is potentially going to DeAndre Swift. Now, the third running back that you should be trading for in your fantasy football leagues is going to be Bijan Robinson of the Atlanta Falcons. And Bijan has been kind of disappointing to fantasy football managers, even though he is still the running back 9 in your fantasy football leagues right now, averaging about 13.1 points per game. So there might be a decent price for Bijan Robinson in your leagues. His playoff schedule is very good, starting off week 15 against the Carolina Panthers. They're the 2nd easiest matchup against the running back position, giving up about 26.7 points per game. In week 16, he gets the Indianapolis Colts. They are the 4th easiest matchup, giving away 23 points per game. And then in your championship weeks, he gets the Chicago Bears. A little bit tougher of a matchup, but still not that bad. They are the 12th easiest matchup. It's the Chicago Bears, giving up about 20.3 points per game. Overall, from those 3 defenses in that span, a total points per game allowed of 70 fantasy football points and an average points per game allowed of about 23.3 points per game that they could be giving up to Bijan Robinson. What's good, guys? I just had to take a second to let you guys know that I am giving away 3 NFL Legends jerseys over in my Discord. Just make sure you hit the link in the description to go over there and enter this giveaway. But we are giving away a Ricky Williams jersey, a Chad Ochocinco jersey, and a Michael Vick jersey. The only thing you have to do is be a member of that Discord. If you want to show us some love, you want to show us some support over here on the channel, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. But the only thing you need to do is go enter that Discord and you can win yourself one of these jerseys that we are giving away on Thanksgiving Day. Now, moving on from the running backs and moving over to the wide receiver position, DK Metcalf is going to be my first trade candidate for the Seattle Seahawks, and he is currently the wide receiver 38, averaging about 12.8 fantasy points per game. His playoff schedule is really nice. He gets week 15 matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles. They are the easiest matchup in football to the wide receiver position, giving up 38.4 points per game to that position group. Week 16, he gets the Tennessee Titans. They are the 7th easiest matchup, giving up 31.1 points per game. And in week 17, he gets the Pittsburgh Steelers, the 6th easiest matchup to wide receivers, giving up 32.8 points per game. This is a total points per game allowed of 102.3 points to the wide receivers over his playoff schedule, and that is an average points per game allowed of 34.1 points per game to the wide receiver position in each of those matchups. Now, the second wide receiver I'm targeting is going to be Hollywood Brown for the Arizona Cardinals, and Hollywood Brown is currently the wide receiver 27 in your fantasy football leagues. He's averaging about 11.7 points per game. He gets the San Francisco 49ers in week 15. They are the 9th easiest matchup to the wide receiver position, giving up 30.6 fantasy points per game to that group. In week 16, he gets the Chicago Bears, the 17th easiest matchup to the wide receiver position, giving up 27.5 points per game. And then in week 17, your championship weeks, he gets the number 1 easiest matchup in fantasy football for wide receivers, the Philadelphia Eagles, who are giving up 38.4 points per game to that wide receiver room. In this period, it is a total points per game allowed of 96.5 points from those 3 matchups, with an average points per game allowed of 32.2 points per game to the wide receiver position. Now, the third wide receiver I'm targeting is going to be Courtland Sutton of the Denver Broncos, and Courtland Sutton is currently sitting as your wide receiver 24 in fantasy football right now. He's averaging 13.4 points per game. We've talked about Russell Wilson as a good playoff matchup. That also applies for Courtland Sutton. He gets the Detroit Lions, the 10th easiest matchup in week 15, and they are giving up 30.4 points per game to the wide receiver position. Then he gets the New England Patriots in week 16, the 11th easiest matchup for wide receivers, giving up 30.2 points per game. And then in week 17, he gets the Los Angeles Chargers, the number 5 easiest matchup to wide receivers, giving up 32.8 fantasy points per game. That is a total points per game allowed of 93.4 points over his playoff schedule, and an average points per game allowed of 31.1 fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Now, moving on from the wide receivers and moving over to 2 tight ends, it's going to be David Njoku for the Cleveland Browns, and David Njoku currently is the tight end 15 right now in fantasy football, averaging about 9.5 points per game. His playoff schedule is pretty nice here. He gets the Chicago Bears in week 15, the 5th easiest matchup for tight ends, giving up about 12 points per game to the position. In week 16, he gets the Houston Texans, the 3rd easiest matchup, giving up 12.2 points per game to the position. And then in week 17, it's a little bit tougher of a matchup, but he gets the New York Jets, number 14th, so nothing crazy, giving up about 10.4 points per game to the tight end position. That's 34.6 total points per game allowed from these matchups over his playoff schedule, and an average points per game allowed of 11.5 points per game in each of these matchups. Now, my final player that I think you should be trading for is going to be tight end Pat Freiermuth of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Pat Freiermuth is currently the tight end 47, and it's because he's been hurt. He hasn't been playing football, and so because of that, his current points per game is at 6.3 points per game, but he is nearing a return, and his playoff schedule is very nice. He gets a week 15 matchup against the Indianapolis Colts. They are the 8th easiest matchup for tight ends, giving up 11.3 points per game. Then he gets the Cincinnati Bengals in week 16, the 4th easiest matchup, giving up 12.2 points per game. And then last but not least, in your championship weeks, he gets the Seattle Seahawks, the 18th easiest matchup, so pretty middle of the pack, giving up about 9.4 points per game to that tight end position for a total points per game allowed of 32.9 points over the course of his playoff schedule, which is an average points per game allowed of 11 points in each of these matchups. Now, that is all I have for you guys today. If you did enjoy this video, and if you do send out any offers for any of these players, go ahead and put your trade offers in the comments down below. I'd love to see what trades are being made and give you guys my feedback on any of these offers. If you did like this video and you feel like we gave you some help, some actionable advice, go ahead and hit that like button. It is the best free way to show our channel some support. Every like goes a long way for us, so we do appreciate you guys doing that. And also make sure you are subscribed subscribe to this channel. That way you never miss any future content. Hit the notification bell so you get notified when those videos come out. And last but not least, join our Discord. That is where we are doing our giveaway, and that is going to give you direct access to me 24/7, 365 to ask me any of your fantasy football questions, and I'm happy to answer all of those for you as they come in. And with all of that out of the way, I don't have anything else for you guys, so I will see you on our next video. But until then, peace out.